Summer is almost over, so let's take a look at where the classic truck market is right now. Is it going down? Is it going up? Or is it staying the same? The results may surprise you. Okay, before we get started today, there's something I want to look at, and that is the Manheim Used Value Vehicle Index. Now, while this is typically indicative of the used car market, I like to look at this indicator because I've typically seen that it goes in line with what classic trucks are as well. And we can see that over the past few years, during COVID, it went way up. Then as COVID ceased, it went way down. And then I predicted earlier this year and the previous year that it would continue to go down, but that is not what we've seen, because throughout this entire year and through last year, the value has pretty much stayed the same. And as of right now, we are sitting around 207.5, which is where it's been since really late 2023. Now, another important thing to consider is the federal funds interest rates. And we have seen that those rate drops recently went down by 0.25 over the last federal meeting. Now, what is being predicted in the future is that as long as the economy stays reasonably where it's at with inflation and employment, the Fed is going to consistently drop rates. And we can see, looking at this federal funds forecast chart, they are predicting that the rates are going to go all the way down to 3% going into 2026 and 2027. And if they do, that could mean good news for the classic truck market. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at 10 results that have occurred over the past month during the summer of 2025, and let's see where the classic truck market is right now. Okay, and we are going to be on the website Bring a Trailer, and I like this particular website because we get a lot of really good pictures and information for the trucks, and we can see what the final price was. And there's really a lot of auctions for 70s Ford trucks on this particular site, and it's something that I like to keep tabs on. And our first truck today is a 74 Highboy. It's an F-250 Ranger 4x4, and what makes this truck outstanding is that it also has a 428 in it, so it's been swapped to a CJ, which is pretty cool. This truck sold just last week, September 14th, for $40,000, and this shows us the market being strong for this particular truck. Now, of course, this truck does have a very desirable engine swap. It has a Lariat interior upgrade. It has a sports steering wheel. It has nice wood grain trim. Obviously, we have the 428 engine that looks really, really good. It looks like it might have aftermarket heads on it as well. The undercarriage looks reasonably well done. The truck has nice paint on it. This is really everything that you could possibly want in a Highboy. I'm not sure you could build this particular truck for $40,000. Especially given all the really nice upgrades that it has. If I was going to build a Highboy, this is probably exactly how I would do it, maybe with just a couple minor changes. But overall, really good money for this truck, showing that the market is reasonably strong, but also not crazy money like we would have seen 5 years ago during COVID. Okay, the next truck is another Highboy. It's a 76 F-250 4x4, and this truck is not done to the level of the previous one, and it sold last week, September 17th, for $24,000. It has a really nice shade of green that I personally really like. A lot of aftermarket equipment inside the truck. It is an AC truck. It has a factory powertrain in it. The frame is reasonably well done. Overall, it looks to be a very solid, mostly if not completely rust-free truck. I don't see any glaring major concerns with this particular truck. And again, it's sold for good money. It didn't sell too low, and it didn't sell for crazy money like we would have seen 5 years ago. It's just a good solid truck. It got a good solid final bid on it, and I think this is really indicative of what we're seeing with the market right now. Okay, next up we have a 79 F-150 4x4 with a flare side bed. Now, I personally do not like the flare side beds. I prefer the style side beds, but regardless, this truck sold last week, September 12th, or 2 weeks ago, September 12th, for $36,500. Looks like it's been completely redone. It looks like the powertrain has been gone through. The frame has been gone through. Everything looks really good. Not a super rare truck, but definitely a super nice truck for sure. The paint looks pretty decent, and overall, it just looks like a really, really solid truck. Now, I think this truck showed good money in the results, being $36,500. I would not have predicted that this truck would have gone for this high in 2025, but this shows us that the market is strong enough for an F-150 4x4 to go for what I would say pretty darn good money, being $36,500. Up we have what I think is a really surprising result. It is a 75 Ford F-250 Super Cab with the trailer special. But the thing about this truck is it is a two-wheel drive truck, and it sold in August for $22,000. Now, if this was a 4x4, there would be no surprise at all with this particular result. But for me personally, I think this is way too much money, or more money than I would have predicted for a two-wheel drive truck. Now, there's no doubt that it looks like it is in really good condition overall. And if you really want a truck in this good of a condition, well, then typically the purchase price is going to be a lot higher. Of course, this truck being on the East Coast and being rust-free also helps with the value because you don't have to pay for shipping to get it out to the East Coast. Now, there's no doubt this truck looks really, really good. $22,000 is really strong money for a truck that is only two-wheel drive, but there's no doubt that this truck is in really, really good condition. Really, the only thing that I don't like about this particular truck is the frame has way too much undercoating, and you can see it's cracking and blistering, and it just doesn't look very appealing the way it is. But besides that, strong, strong, strong money in the summer of 2025 for a two-wheel drive truck, and you can see the undercoating right here. It's way, way, way overdone. That's way too much undercoating. Up, we have another highboy, and this one is a 74, and it says 7,000 mile highboy, but if you read through the description, it says currently showing 7,000. So there's a high probability that this is 107,000 miles. Probably not 207 because the body's in too good of a shape for that. So this is probably 107K highboy, which regardless, for a 74, that's still really, really low miles. This truck is really, really, really nice. It is not super well done. It's not fully restored. It has a really nice body on it, but the powertrain does not seem to be restored at this particular point. It might have been gone through a little bit, but overall, this just looks like a really solid driver truck. And this truck just sold for $39,000. Now, think about that. This is just a good, solid truck. It is not a fully restored truck, and it fetched a purchase price in the summer of 2025 of nearly, well, after fees and everything else, over $40,000. I would not have predicted that this particular truck would have gone this high, but again, it just shows you that the market is staying stable. It's not really going up. It's not really going down, and we're still seeing good results for good, solid trucks like this one. Before we talk about it, let me explain what this truck is. This is a 79 Ford F-350 Ranger Lariat Camper Special 4x4. For those that don't know, that is the top dog for the Dentside trucks. They only made this particular truck in 1979, and for the Lariats, they only made a few hundred of them. So when you're talking about the rarity scale, this is the absolute rarest regular cab truck that you could get when you're talking about the heavy duties. This is the one that you want to put your money into. So with that being said, this is an elite level investor grade truck when done correctly. This truck sold in August, so exactly a month ago, for $37,500. There's no doubt that this is a pretty darn good truck overall, but I was very surprised by the fact that it sold for almost $40,000, and this just shows you that the market is still there. The right truck in the right place with the right color combinations that people want, the right trim and everything else, these trucks will still sell for good money, and this truck is exactly what you want. It's a Lariat. It's in dark blue. It has the interior still in there. The engine's been upgraded. These are all the things that people want. It comes with extra parts if you want to get the truck painted so everything is rust-free. The worn winch bumper on the front looks good. We have rust on this door, but the truck comes with more doors. Overall, this truck is pretty solid. I think if this truck came to auction 15 years ago in this condition, it probably would have been a $10,000 truck or less. During COVID, this truck probably would have gone up closer to $50,000. But right now, we're seeing that this is about a $40,000 truck. I did not personally think it was going to go for that much, given the fact that it really still needs to be restored. But this is a great truck that shows us that the right truck, the market is there, things are still strong, and whoever gets this truck has all the parts and pieces they need to take it apart, get it painted, and have an even better truck when they're done. So you can definitely argue one way or the other whether this was a good deal or not. I don't know if I personally would have paid that much for it, probably not, but it's definitely a great start for someone that wants to do a really, really high-end investor grade rebuild restoration on a truck, because that's exactly what this truck is. It's the top dog. It's the truck that you want to put your money into. So you let me know in the comments below, was this a good price on this truck? Our last three trucks that we're going to go into are all what I like to call Pro Touring or Restomod builds, in that they are a factory truck that has an engine transplant, a modern engine, modern transmission, and other components. I have been very critical of the value of these particular builds because, in my opinion, from what I have seen, build them is usually not realized in an auction price. And I think you're going to see that somewhat with the next three trucks that we're going to look at. And the first one is a 78 F-150 4x4 that has been coyote swapped. It's sold early in September of this summer for $32,000. And right off the bat, that is probably not enough money for this particular truck. I'm not saying that the auction price itself wasn't fair at the end. What I'm saying is it's probably unlikely that this person realized their cost of investment on this particular truck. Now, I would have to see it in person and I would have to look at it better in person, but most likely, best case scenario, this person somewhat broke even on the bill, but that doesn't include their time and everything that they put into it. It appears to have nice paint. Again, I'd have to see it in person. It has a coyote in it. It has a modern engine in it, or modern transmission in it. The interior has been redone. All the work with getting everything hooked up, it's just a ton of work. It does appear to have aftermarket doors on it. It has some other stuff on it, transfer case controller. Someone put a lot of time and a lot of effort into this truck, and I'm not sure that that price, particular auction, would have realized the investment that they had in this particular truck. It's tough to say, but again, the Restomod trucks, you're really taking a big risk when you build these because there's no guarantee that you're going to realize your investment on this particular kind of build. We have a truck that I think it's pretty safe to say this person did not realize their investment on this particular build. It's a 77, another F-150 4x4. This one's a long bed that probably hurt the final auction price, but it is Godzilla swap. That's what people really want. It's sold in early summer, July, for $50,077, and for a Restomod truck that appears to have a paint job on it. Again, I don't know the quality of the paint job. I'd have to see it in person. But regardless, it's definitely been Godzilla swapped, and someone put a ton of effort into this particular build. You may not like some of the things that they did. I certainly don't like everything about it. But regardless, the truck is completely restored, and it has all the key components that most people are looking for in a Pro Touring build. Assuming the paint is in really nice condition, it's obviously a good color combination. I hate the wheels, but that's an easy change. Someone has put a ton of time, effort, and money into making this truck work. Not just something you're going to pull into your shop and knock out in a few weekends. This is a multi-month or a year or more long restoration. It takes a ton of time, it takes a ton of capital, and it takes a ton of know-how to get a truck to this final state. And for it to only sell for $50,000 is kind of a slap in the face, because there's no way that you could possibly build this truck for 50 grand if you dropped it off of the shop and had them do all the work. So again, when you go into the Pro Touring Restomod, you really have to be building these trucks because you want to keep it, not because you want to sell it. That's my opinion, in that you're probably not going to realize your investment on these trucks when you go to sell them. And again, this truck appears to be really nicely done. I like everything that they did with it except for a few things like the wheels, and I don't like that shifter and a couple other things. But besides that, there's no doubt that this truck appears to have a really good quality build on it. This is this Godzilla-powered 74 F-250 crew cab. It is not a 4x4 truck. It is a two-wheel drive truck that has been converted to 4x4. Now, for these Godzilla swaps, it's actually preferable that you start with a two-wheel drive truck, and that's because the frames are way better for the Godzillas or the Coyotes, because they have a standard cradle, and because the high boys and the low boys have a part of the frame in the front that can be very intrusive for putting a modern day engine in. Now, this particular truck sold in early summer or midsummer, July 30th, for $152,500. And I know you're probably thinking, well, isn't that a really good result? And I would say maybe not, because this truck appears to be the highest possible quality build that you could do. It has a Godzilla in it, a 6R86 speed. It has a bunch of really, really high quality and expensive parts in this particular truck. The paint job alone, who knows how much that paint job costs, but probably tens of thousands of dollars. And it appears that everything on this particular truck has been done from top to bottom. There's no doubt that this is essentially an A-plus, high quality, best of the best build that you can possibly do. Now, with that being said, it's very unlikely that you're going to drop off a two-wheel drive truck, a crew cab at any shop in America that is reputable and walk out the door with a bill that's only $152,000. It's just not possible. These trucks take too much time and too much money to get into this particular state. And I would say whoever purchased this truck is walking away a winner, because there's probably no way you're going to be able to pay a shop to do this amount of work on any truck and have a bill of less than $150,000. I would say that this truck probably cost over 200 grand to build. That would just be my guess. So again, Restomod trucks, while they're probably the best all said and done, they're probably not your best option to realize your investment. That's just my personal opinion. But there's no doubt that this truck is totally badass the way it is, and I would love to have it myself, of course. So with that being said, my opinion, the classic truck market is staying stagnant right now. Good quality trucks, they're still selling for good money. Restomod trucks, I don't know if you're realizing your investment on them most of the time, but really, if you're building one of those trucks, you have to be building it for yourself, not to resell it. So with that being said, based on all the information and the data that we have, I would say that the classic truck market continues to stay stagnant throughout the rest of 2025. As federal interest rates come down, maybe the cost of these trucks maybe goes up a little bit as money becomes cheaper to get. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this market update with Dentside Depot. And remember, keep restoring those classic trucks.